Weakness spots. Where have you struggled in this area? Do not be thorough. You're only looking for the first few things that God brings to mind. Stop within 2 minutes. Note to self, remember you have improved, but you're not there yet. You've come a long way, and it's okay if you still have a long way to go. So this can be challenging for some people. In an attempt to maintain integrity, they will keep looking until they find everything wrong. When you're saying, Heavenly Father, please show me my weakness, my areas to improve, let him do it one piece at a time instead of all of them at once. So as you ponder this, can you think of like a little more isolated, like under these circumstances, I'd like to improve 1%, or in this situation, I think I can improve. Can you find a segment of this project? Because this is a big project you've got. So what if we did, like, when some people are working on gratitude, they say, I'm going to look for one gratitude statement per day to say out loud to so-and-so. What if we did like a one vulnerable statement or self-exposing something per day, and so that you actually have to work at looking for something? Okay, now everyone, those of you who want to be mentors, you'll notice it's really important that I don't tell her what to do. But it is not uncommon for a person who's been in a rut for a long time to be short on creativity. Like, I don't know. I don't know what else to try. And so it's a little aggravating to be narrow-minded based on life experience, not because I'm a narrow-minded person. Like, if you've been in a rut for a while, it's really hard to be creative outside of it. So if you're going to help somebody, use multiple choice. What about this? What about this? What about this? And then kind of give them the space to pick for themselves. Now let's go into discover. So reflect is about the past, and the goal of it is to kind of isolate something that's not overwhelming. You want to make sure whatever you're going to work on is bite size. Now, if you all of a sudden get a flood of 20 other things, just put them on paper over here. Don't let them drown you. It's like, okay, those are all good things to work on. They go over here. And they're going to land on your intentional neglect list. The other one thing I've seen Satan do is if you find something, he doesn't really love that, so he will flood with lots of things, and then, well, which one's the better? The big, better, good, better, best thing? Like, well, maybe I should do this one instead of that one, or this one instead of that one. Don't let him mess with you with that. Good is good, according to Moroni chapter 7. That which is good is of God, and if you found something good to do, whether it's better or best, God can explain that to you next time, because you're going to do it tomorrow. Now let's do some discover work. Maybe we don't have to wait to think of what we're going to say until in the moment. Maybe we can come up with something. So here's what I might do with a man who's learning how to be grateful for his wife. Let's cheat and come up with 10 things when you're not having stage fright that you can say out of gratitude, and then spread them out over the day. And then just like pull them out on lists. So like if you're in the middle of a busy work day and you're overwhelmed and stressed, you're not going to be thinking about what you're grateful for. But if your wife sends you a text message and says, just saying hi, and you say, well, I could just say, hi, what do you want? Or I could say, earlier today I was thinking about you and I'm grateful for this sand. And she's all, well, isn't that sweet? I say hi and he sends me a gratitude statement? Who hates that? So do you want to try to come up with a few in advance? Now, we're talking vulnerable stuff here. Do you want to talk about that in front of a bunch of people? Let's see. Anything come to mind right off the bat before we start doing discovery? How about something that starts with, so I was thinking, or I had a feeling. Now, the weird part now, some of these ladies are way better than I am, because some of them share, like, it seems like almost pointless to share things, because what's the point of sharing that? Because it's not really leading to anything. It's like just sharing. Okay, like, hey, I was thinking about, so my wife does this. She does more of the thinking than the feeling thing. She goes, so I was thinking about like Egyptian pharaohs earlier today. I'm all, what? Okay. Where do you come up with this stuff? And so I never know what I'm going to be talking about when I go home from work. Okay, there's so many creative things, and it's all connected. Then we spend 2 hours how we go from what happened with our son to Egyptian pharaohs. So that takes almost an hour sometimes just to talk through that thought process, but only took her 5 minutes. She goes, you know how exhausting it is to explain to you what's going on in my head? But it's fun. It's a way that we connect over things when regular life issues are too stressful. We go on a journey. So one of the weird things about being transparent or being psychologically vulnerable is just share random stuff. It doesn't even have to be like something that's so awkwardly personal. It's
If you're
just
finding this video helpful or want to help us reach others in need, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because it really supports our channel. Thank you.
Any of you ladies out there good at this kind of thing? Like you just Markel raises her hand. Markel, give us an example of how you might just. Now, your husband has not always shown great interest in your random thoughts.
I know. And he likes to talk to me more now. And so I have to be like, okay, he's talking to me. That's good. It actually is still kind of weird because he's even happy about it, which is great. So I have to create space for that after all the years where he didn't want to talk to me very much. But I will just bring up random things, or if he's kind of going off on some tangent, then I'll just bring up something over here and then we talk about this. And, it creates connection. Sometimes I'm just listening to him. Sometimes he's listening to me. Sometimes we have a topic where we are both having a conversation about that. I have all either teenagers or adults for kids now. I think that I was really good at this when I had younger kids. Like if they're starting to get into a mood or they're going to have a temper tantrum, okay, well, let's just talk about this over here, or look at the cat, or, different things like that to kind of redirect the mind and pull them out of, that spin that they were moving into with the emotions. And then sometimes I will just talk randomly too, like if they're quiet and they're not really saying a whole lot, to see if I can spur on some conversations with them. So
Thank you. I just remembered that there are lots of conversation starting games. One of them my daughter brought home a while back. We're not really strangers. And what it is it's just a whole box full of questions that you can answer and share personal information about yourself. If you play with artificial intelligence at all, you can actually get it to do it for you. Like, give me a list of 20 questions that would be like the ones that are in You're Not Really Strangers, so I can, for conversation starters. And I put the dating edition into my search because if you're practicing this, that's a good place to start, is sharing on the level you would if you were dating. It's a good place. It's a little less deep. It's a good practice zone for when you're just baby stepping your way into it. All right, so now what we would do is, if we had more time, we would add some more things to the Discover list. I could do this, I could do this. So the goal of a Discover list is to create a menu of things you could put in a plan. Remember, it's a menu. It's not a task list. And so then you look at your menu and you go, of the items on my menu, what do I want to try first? And that is your plan. So now I would pick a time to execute it as like, I'm going to do it at least this one time in this one place. If I do any more than that, it's bonus. So can you visualize the most likely time to practice this? Wind down time in the evening or wind up time in the morning. When you're trying a new thing, don't hesitate to announce it. Like, I'm about to do something new. I'm not asking for a score on how well I did. Don't judge me. I'm going to do this. It's going to be horrible. I'm going to make a mess of it. But here we go. First attempt. Bleh. Throw it out there. And I'm guessing your husband will probably give it one of these, some version of celebration, like, good effort. If he's got any brains at all, he's going to want to give a positive reinforcement no matter how bad it is, because we want to try again and try again and try again. And so it's really helpful. Anytime you try a new skill, announce it. It fits in. When I was a waiter before graduate school, when you tell the table that you're new at it, they give you all sorts of space and they overtip you when you make the worst mistakes. But if you don't tell them you're new at it, they think you're just bad. So anytime you try a new skill, announce it. Okay? Just say, I'm trying something new here. And everyone's all, okay, what are you trying? I'm going to be compassionate. Are, are you now? Yes, watch this. I had to do this when I first was trying out being empathetic. Like, this is me, I'm about to be empathetic. And you could see people like flinching almost, like, this is going to be yucky, really messy. And it was. That's for everyone's. Now you have your action plan, or now you have your plan, you just execute it. And then in tomorrow's DPAR, you just review it. You just keep the momentum going. You can do an entire DPAR in like 5 minutes when it's a follow-up DPAR, because you don't have to start at the top. You can like make a copy of this page and now you're just adding to it, or you can just use the page you're already using and just kind of make some notes on it. Like, you're polishing it. You're fine-tuning it. You don't have to have a brand new piece of paper every time. If you're working on the same thing, I've had times when I'm working on like 7 things at once, so I have like 7 different sections in a notebook, and sometimes I just work off the last document. I don't want to start from the very beginning. I just want to pick up kind of where I left off and just do another circle, just go right to the reflect, discover, plan again, and then reflect, discover, plan again, and just kind of rotate through it. That's why I mostly use electronic paper, is because I like to add a lot of stuff sometimes. But that doesn't have to. You can start scribbling in the corners or in the side and make it a mess, and it's yours. So did you see how that process worked? That's doing a power DPAR. That's all it is. If you, there's a last note at the bottom that just says, if you're doing any type of marital work, when you're done sharing it with the other person, is really powerful to say, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm got, where my head is at. That often helps. So if Satan's getting in the other person's head saying, does that person work on anything? Are they ever trying to improve? You have documented proof that you're trying to become a better person. And it also, like, if Satan's telling them you should be working on this over here, if you are working on this here, they're less likely to bring up their concern because you're working on something I don't want to give you more. That's not appropriate for me to like overload you. You're obviously, by your reflections, you're discovering your plan. You put a lot of work into that. I'm not going to mess that up. So it's a really cool process. We use it all the time in the marriage repair workshops. I love that it gets rid of guilt and shame faster. Like, I don't have to feel cruddy. I don't spend a lot of time going, man, I just can't get this right, because it actually has me moving into ideas that actually move. A lot of things like I get it wrong and I feel bad and I hope to get it right. I get it wrong, I feel bad, and I just hope to get it right. There's no actual structural change to what I'm doing. By moving it onto paper, we can now see, I'm going to try at this time, I'm going to say the following thing, and I'm going to try it, and if saying that at that time isn't the right thing to do or the best thing to do, then I'm going to try it different tomorrow. I know because I'm just going to try it. And am I doing the right thing? I don't know. Try this and then do something different tomorrow.